There are some anime out there that you just can't escape. They are everywhere on your feed, their edits get millions of views, and their scores on MyAnimeList are through the roof. But if you dive into the darker corners of the internet, Reddit threads, Twitter debates, or forum discussions, you'll hear a completely different story. Why is everyone overrating this show? Today, I'm putting my personal opinions aside. We're breaking down the top 15 anime that have completely divided the community, sparked massive flame wars, and are most frequently called overrated. We'll be looking directly at the main arguments brought up by the community. Are these criticisms valid, or is the community just hating for no reason? Sit back, grab a drink, and get ready to drop your thoughts in the comments. 1. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. A huge portion of the community claims that 90% of Demon Slayer's success relies entirely on Ufotable's god-tier animation quality and lighting effects. Critics argue that if you strip away the visuals, you're left with a generic, predictable 90s shonen story. 2. Solo Leveling. Even though it's one of the most hyped shows recently, the main criticism is crystal clear. The story relies entirely on one overpowered character showing off. Side characters get zero development, and the world building is almost non-existent. The community often summarizes it as a visual video game power fantasy. 3. Attack on Titan, Final Season. While AOT is widely considered a masterpiece, the finale split the audience in two. A massive portion of the fanbase believes that the final character choices and motivations ruined the philosophical depth and mystery built up over 3 seasons. 4. Jujutsu Kaisen. Despite being the undisputed king of short-form video edits, critics emphasize that the show's world-building and narrative pacing are actually pretty weak. Many claim people hype it up for Gojo's aura and Mappa's high-octane fight choreography rather than its depth. 5. Sword Art Online, SAO. Having once revolutionized the scene with its Aincrad arc, SAO is seen by the community as a show that wasted its potential faster than any other. It gets heavily criticized for devolving into a cheap harem fantasy in the second half and paving the way for today's wave of low-quality isekai. 6. Tokyo Revengers. While the time travel premise is intriguing, the biggest complaint is watching 14-year-old kids run massive criminal syndicates. Plus, the protagonist Takemichi spending half the runtime crying uncontrollably heavily tested viewers' patience. 7. My Hero Academia. It started strong with a refreshing superhero premise, but lost a large portion of its audience over time. Broken power scaling, a repetitive story structure, and dragged-out arcs caused the series to lose its original charm. 8. Death Note, second half. Internet consensus converges on one major flaw: the near and mellow era after L's departure. A huge portion of the community believes the show should have ended at episode 25, calling everything after that forced and full of plot conveniences. 9. Chainsaw Man. Before its release, it was hyped as a show that would completely rewrite the anime industry. However, when Season 1 aired, the protagonist's extremely basic motivations and the lack of that promised revolution left many viewers disappointed. 10. One Piece. Anime Adaptation. To be clear, the target here isn't the manga, it's strictly the anime adaptation. Stretching a single manga panel into minutes of runtime, endless stare-downs, and terrible pacing lead many to believe the anime actually harms the original story. 11. Classroom of the Elite. Critics often point out that the mind games in this show rely heavily on forced plot conveniences. Meanwhile, the protagonist Ayano Koji is frequently accused of being designed specifically to cater to teenage viewers looking for an emotionless, edgy main character. 12. Spy X Family. It blew up with a fantastic spy and action premise, but critics complain that the show quickly sidelined its main plot in favor of a repetitive school and family comedy where the story barely moves forward. 13. Naruto. Shippuden or War Arc. Old school fans love Naruto for its tactical, strategy-based ninja battles. That's why many criticize the end of Shippuden, arguing it turned into a giant Dragon Ball-style power festival with giant lasers and chakra avatars flying everywhere. 14. Oshi no Ko. It created a massive shockwave with a movie-length 90-minute premiere. However, critics argue that instead of continuing to explore the dark underbelly of the entertainment industry as promised, it quickly settled into a standard high school drama and love triangle. 15. Full Metal Alchemist. Brotherhood. Despite being a near-perfect production, its permanent spot as the untouchable #1 on sites like MyAnimeList feels slightly overhyped to some viewers. The goofy, misplaced chibi humor, breaking the tension during serious scenes, remains its most criticized detail. Those were the 15 anime most frequently labeled as overrated across the anime community. Looking at the list as a whole, do you think the community makes valid points, or are these shows just being unfairly criticized? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.